On the motion to go into executive session to discuss the litigation, those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, Kellner?
Me.
Um,
Commissioner, can the public be heard? I know we can't object to this, but if you're going to go into executive session, I came down here to speak about the issue of the Department of Justice lawsuit, and this does sort of raise the question of who does the Attorney General represent. The Attorney General represents the people of New York, not just the State Board of Elections. And so if you are going to go into executive session, I would like to be heard here on my feelings about this lawsuit.
all right. Well, we've already, it's not appropriate to go into long public comments now, and obviously the best way to communicate with the commissioners is by sending a letter or an email to us.
And Mr. Novak, I appreciate your email. It was excellent, by the way. I read it, and I'm sure the others have. It was excellent.
My experience, thank you, I appreciate, is when I send mail and when I send documents here that they're not read, and I have something to submit, but I would like to be heard for 1 minute on this topic because it is a topic that affects the citizens of New York. The elections are the people's elections, not just the Board of Elections elections.
I'll ask the commissioners if they want to give 1 minute for each person to speak. Is that acceptable?
For each person? How
Pardon?
many people are we talking?
All right. All right, 1 minute.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate it. I want Andy. Yeah, you can have it. No, I can give.
No, you got 1 minute, Ms. Novak.
Use it up to
On behalf of the people who you're supposed to represent, we don't want you caving into the Department of Justice pressure and authorizing the purchase of these theft-enabling failed machines, which the Department of Justice memo of law, which I read yesterday, says are good enough for them, and that those machines are HAVA compliant. We, the people, want our votes counted. We don't want our votes stolen. The machines that the Department of Justice is telling you to purchase have already been found by the Secretary of State of California and many other independent investigations, and I have a paper here referencing them all, to be capable of being hacked in less than 1 minute. These machines all count our votes on secret software. That's secret vote counting by private companies and by the government. There's nothing more un-American than secret vote counting, and those are the machines that the Department of Justice is telling you that we need to vote on and that this board is considering purchasing for New York. You can't possibly certify machines in time for 2008, and now the Department of Justice is telling you that you have to do that by 2008. And so I have one solution to the problem that the federal government has put us in now. Since there are no machines on the market that can't be rigged and therefore cannot legally be used or constitutionally be used in a democratic election, and because the Department of Justice says that if you don't do something, then they're going to impose their will over our state sovereignty. There's one solution that can be put into effect for 2008. It is HAVA compliant, and it is the best solution for the people. And it'll avoid the use of these failed voting machines, which should have been recalled because they can't provide a means for an honest election. We can count our votes on paper, by hand, with our own hand. We can count them with our own eyes so that the people can see transparently that their votes have been counted as cast, and that is the only solution that can be in effect for 2008, that can get the Department of Justice off our back, that is HAVA compliant, and that protects the integrity of the vote.
She's right. She's right. Absolutely right.
All right, is there anyone else? This time we're really going to enforce the 1 minute.
I would like to just add that as
Give us your name, please.
Tony Serafini, Election Defense Alliance, that I'm just outraged that with the amount of evidence that has come across the United States, including the Secretary of State, Deborah Bowen in California, they've done all the testing. They've gone through this rigorous process of completely negating any type of security in these systems. They cannot be secured in any way, shape, or form. Software cannot be secured in any way, shape, or form, and it cannot be audited. And to have this Board of Elections use New York State taxpayer money to go down this path that other states have already gone down is reckless and undemocratic, and it is certainly not in the best interest of the voters, and it totally takes our rights away as citizens to vote and have our votes be counted.
All right, thank you.
And also to do it behind closed doors.
Sue Cohen?
Hi, I'm Superwoman Nyso. We want to say that the New York State DOE would be making a big mistake if it allowed uncertified DREs to be substituted as BMDs by deactivating their counting devices and interpreting their VVPTs as ballots. The State Board should not flood uncertified DREs into the field untested under the guise that they're BMDs. These machines are supposed to accommodate voters with disabilities. Will the accessible interfaces on these devices work appropriately? How will a voter be able to independently verify their ballot given the small font size on a VVPT? If the counting function is deactivated on the uncertified DREs, when will you count the ballots? This action will end up creating far more problems before you realize, if ever, any perceived benefit. And I just want to say, we don't want to spend $42 million for disability machines if people with disabilities cannot vote independently and privately. And that would be a huge betrayal. And I stay up nights worrying about this. So I would like the board to address that. Thank you.
Thank you. Dennis Carius.
I want to thank you for allowing Arise to come here. And I just want to say, yesterday I voted on an AutoMark machine. Albany County has a machine for the disabled. Anybody can vote on it. I voted on an AutoMark machine, and I was thrilled. I think it covers all the needs of a disabled person, but when you're done, it takes that pre-printed ballot and it just gives you a printed ballot. The same thing that anyone walking in can do. When you hand them the pre-printed ballot, they can walk into a privacy booth. They can give you the same output as the output from an AutoMark. So everybody can have the same output. I think you had a great idea with jury duty and also college students who can be inspectors. I don't see any reason that we can't hand count votes at night. You've got all the people you need to do it. And then at the end, if you want to use an optical scanner, you can use that for an unofficial tally. You can use a hand count for an official tally. One can check the other. If people don't show up, just stay with an optical scanner. If they do show up, the official tally should be the hand count. I think the answer is all there. I don't see why we have to be talking about DREs, which I have no trust in.
Thank you, James.
Thank you.